Well, I wonder what's your expectation from Premier Li Keqiang's speech on the topic of foreign investment?
Well, I'm going to be very interested in listening to him. It's the third time for me at the World Economic Forum, and it's very important to understand what the Chinese government wants to prioritize related to reforms. We know that China has gone through a period of reforms focusing on the demand side to stimulate consumption. Now it's the time when we are focusing on the supply side reforms, which are not easy reforms, but they are very important and they are completely necessary for China to keep a sustainable growth. So I'm going to be listening to that, and I will hopefully as well might hear some comments related to financial reforms. His capital is a financial investor, so we are interested in issues related to the opening up on the onshore equity markets and possibly maybe the launch of Shenzhen Connect. Who knows?
Well, given the United Kingdom's decision to leave the EU, and the fourth industrial revolution, how will this affect countries in Europe?
Well, in Europe, his capital is a Swedish company, so we invest in emerging markets, but also in Eastern Europe. These markets are definitely might be more impacted by the problems in Europe, the political and the economic consequences of this decision. But looking at Asia and specifically looking at China, I think the impact is quite limited. On Friday, as you could see, for instance, the renminbi was one of the most stable currencies in the world, and the Chinese onshore equity market was also quite resilient.
Also, I'm wondering, how will Brexit affect China's financial market?
Well, I think for the offshore equity markets, by that I mean for the Chinese companies listed in Hong Kong, this is clearly not very positive because we have a risk-off sentiment. The decision by the UK sent some shock waves, and right now we have a lot of uncertainty and volatility, which is usually not very supportive for equity markets. So Hong Kong, Hong Kong listed stocks might be quite negatively affected. In China, which we at this capital specialize in, meaning the domestic market, it's a market driven by domestic investors, driven by other things related to what's happening inside the country and not what's happening on a global scale. So we don't think the impact is going to be that important.
And I wonder, like in the context of the fourth industrial revolution, can you tell us the Chinese companies' outlook compared to the firms in Europe and the US?
Well, thank you. This is an exciting question. I think that's one of the reasons we are all here at the World Economic Forum in Tianjin, because we are focusing on issues related to innovation and technology, and China here is already leading in a lot of sectors. We are investing ourselves a lot in the clean tech sector, for instance, and China today is the largest clean tech market in the world. We see a number of very innovative companies which are, of course, being supported by the government, and also because they are dealing with issues related to the pollution, both air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, which is a real need here in China. So I think China is already seen as a leading country in the field of clean tech and other sectors related to technology.
Great, thank you so much.
If you like what you just saw, follow us on social media and visit our website, cctv-america.com.